When I started my nonprofit organization some years ago, I would have to say that the thought of raising money was definitely the scariest part. I thought, who in the world is going to want to give our cause money? Who is going to want to fund our little organization? It took me years and dozens of failed attempts before we finally figured out how to bring in sustainable revenue for our unique organization. And when we finally figured out the formula, so to speak, for how to fundraise for our unique situation, we were able to grow our impact. We were able to hire more full-time staff and be able to reach more people and help more people and ultimately better fulfill our mission. And growing our community impact is what it's all about, right? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber Melanie Smith. I'm a nonprofit founder and executive director of the nonprofit that I started years ago. And I make these videos here on YouTube to help other people who are trying to start a nonprofit or trying to get some kind of social impact endeavor off the ground, even if it's not a nonprofit, etc. In this video, I really want to share with you the 4 components of what I think makes up a strong nonprofit fundraising formula. That means a formula that is unique to your organization, because every organization is different, that will help you figure out how to generate revenue sustainably for your nonprofit. So I really hope that you find this video helpful and useful. And don't forget to give it a like and help me out there, and subscribe to my channel for more videos all about these topics. Before I go on to the next section though, I want to take a minute to share a big announcement with you. I am very excited to announce at long last that my newest online course, Find and Grow Your Funding, is now live. So my new course, Find and Grow Your Funding, takes you through 5 possible ways that your nonprofit can generate sustainable revenue. It talks you through how to create a fundraising plan unique to your needs, and it includes all sorts of practical, real-life action steps that you can take right now to start your fundraising strategy off. It's really ideal for newer or smaller nonprofit organizations who are still trying to figure out the right way to bring in revenue and keep it coming in. So if you are interested, go to my website, foundertofulltime.com, and check that out. Check out all the details, see if it's for you, and I've got a special discount code up there live for a couple more days. Okay, so let's get into today's topic. There are lots of different variables and components that can lead to fundraising success for any given nonprofit organization. I've heard a lot of people ask, what is the key to fundraising? What's that special magical recipe? And unfortunately, there is not one way that works for all organizations. Every organization is different, has a unique mission, has a unique community, and has to figure out what's going to be the unique formula that's going to work for them. So instead of saying, here's exactly what you need to do to raise all the money, which, as I just pointed out, is not a thing, I'm going to talk you through the formula, the different variables I would consider in developing a strategy for any nonprofit to help you figure out what your unique formula is going to be. Only you know your nonprofit best. So this nonprofit fundraising formula contains 4 components as I see it. Those 4 components are going to be audience, fundraising vehicle, engagement, and personalization. So I'm going to talk you through each one of those to share a little bit more about what I mean by these. Let's talk about number 1 first. That's audience, or in other words, your target audience. Every nonprofit is going to have a unique target audience that's going to make up their base of supporters or potential supporters for their organization. I know it's easier to say, or you'd like to maybe say, well, everyone's my target audience. I would love to have everyone's support for my organization. And of course you would. And so would we all. But what I've found is that different missions, different program models, different ways of engaging people, they speak to different types of people in different life situations a little bit differently. So starting with your target audience and figuring out who they are, what their characteristics are, what they like, what they don't like, is at least going to give you a strong fit for the people who would be most likely to support your cause. And then you can build on that to hopefully get others beyond that circle too. And knowing these things about your target audience, who they are, what they like, what they don't like, etc., is very important because it's going to allow you to tailor your communications and your messaging, your website, your social media, etc., and even your donation asks. You're going to be able to tailor those things to that specific target audience. If you aren't sure who your target audience is, one very easy way to think about it is by asking yourself who is going to be able to best relate to or be concerned about the specific issue that our nonprofit is tackling. For example, let's say you are a nonprofit organization that helps find homes for homeless dogs and cats. Well, probably your target audience is going to be animal lovers, people who like dogs and cats, for example. You're not going to make it very far with someone who doesn't like animals if you are trying to message your organization for an animal lover, so you have to tailor your messaging. Or another example, let's say that your nonprofit raises funds for cancer research for cancers that affect children. One possible target audience could be families with young children, because they're at least able to empathize with or relate to a situation in which their families could be affected by this, and that will allow them to connect emotionally to the cause. Once you've thought through your target audience, of course, then you can figure out where you need to do outreach, where you need to market your cause in order to build up relationships with that potential target audience. In the case of families, maybe family festivals or parenting magazines might be a good fit, for example, or Facebook groups or social media accounts that are targeting families. Okay, so that's part one, your target audience. Now, part two of this formula is your fundraising plan or your fundraising vehicle, meaning the methods through which you're going to be generating this revenue, raising these dollars. And you're looking for a method or a combination of methods that once again fits your unique mission and situation as a nonprofit. This piece of the formula is typically where I hear people get stuck. There is a widespread misconception? You know what I mean. There's a widespread misconception that grants or donations are the top or even most common ways for nonprofits to bring in revenue for their organization. And for some nonprofits, it might be true that grants and donations make up the bulk of their budget, but in my experience, that's not true for most organizations, and it's not necessarily the best fit for all organizations. And in actuality, there are many ways beyond those mechanisms that nonprofits can bring in money. Earned income, sponsorships, program fees, etc., lots of different ways. So for this part of your fundraising formula, you've got to take a look at the whole landscape of fundraising mechanisms and opportunities available to your organization and really think hard about which of these methods is going to be the best fit for your unique situation. Weigh the pros and cons of each, the time and the resources required by each in order to be successful, and make a decision about what is the right method or combination of methods that's going to work best for you. Now, the third part of the fundraising formula is engagement. And by this, I mean you need to have a way to keep your target audience engaged throughout the year and keep your name in front of them beyond just the times when you would be asking them for support. Supporters do not just want to hear from you when you need their donations. They really want to feel like they are part of your nonprofit's journey, growth, and success. So think about what are the unique ways that you have the ability to do to keep them engaged throughout the year. Is it a newsletter? Is it a gathering? Is it meeting people for coffee? What are the ways you're going to keep them engaged, keep building that relationship with them, and maintaining that relationship with them throughout the year? Now, the fourth component of a nonprofit fundraising formula is personalization. And what I mean by this is you want to find a way to make it personal for the person, your supporter, when you do ask them for support. And of course, the way you would do this, the way you might personalize something, largely depends on the fundraising vehicle that you chose in part two of the formula. Another way of thinking about this is simply to make sure that your mission and the way you ask for support is a good fit for that type of supporter, that type of target audience. So let's say that for part number 2, you decided that the fundraising vehicle that your organization should most focus on is individual donations. Then when you're thinking about this component, personalization of how you're going to ask, maybe you want to think about and ask yourself the question, what inner need or desire for connection or belonging could supporting your cause meet in your donor's heart? The act of donating can be a very emotional experience. People are invested in the story of your cause, invested in the success and the impacts that you could have. They have a friendship with you, they have a relationship with you. So they are getting something emotionally out of the experience of providing your organization with support. Or let's say the fundraising vehicle you decided you wanted to focus on instead is corporate sponsorships. Then in the personalization part, maybe you're thinking about what sort of business need might sponsoring your cause help them fulfill as well. Now, I do want to offer a little bit of a disclaimer here, and that is that you want to avoid taking this too far. You want to avoid being overly donor-centric. What you don't want to do is bend over backwards to accommodate a donor or a sponsor, because that's not your mission. It's not your mission to serve them. It's your mission to serve the community. So it's your job to figure out how to inspire and convince these supporters to support that work for the community. It's not about pleasing them, but it is about treating them like a partner in the process where they can play a role as long as that doesn't interfere with your ability to serve your community authentically. By framing, giving, and supporting your cause as a partnership with a donor or supporter, you can really strike a good balance between helping them feel that sense of fulfillment and getting that personalization that they need, while also being sure to impact your community in the right way. So I'd love to hear where you are in this sort of process at this point. Are you in the process of starting a nonprofit or creating a fundraising plan? Share in the comments below what you are working on right now. And as I mentioned before, if you need some additional help either with figuring out the steps to start a nonprofit, or now that my new course is available, figuring out how to create a sustainable fundraising plan, check out my website, foundertofulltime.com. Go check out my Find and Grow Your Funding course and see if that can help you out. My newsletter with more resources and opportunities for nonprofit leaders and change makers is also linked in the description below, so check that out if that's something you'd like to receive. Finally, if you are on Facebook, don't forget to check out my group, Change the World or Bust. I know there's a lot. Change the World or Bust, where you can join in lots of people all over the world who are on some kind of social impact journey, whether that's starting a nonprofit or other kind of social impact project. Come on and join us. Join the group. We will be happy to have you. Thanks for watching as always. I hope to see you next time. Have a great day.